Well everyone, here it is. This is the Galaxy Z Fold 8 in all its glory, and I've been using it for a little while now, and I gotta say, it's one of the most impressive pieces of hardware that I've used in recent years. But now that the honeymoon period with the Z Fold 8 is over, it's made me realize something about Apple's future foldable that has me very worried for a lot of people, including myself, because this is something I gotta say about it. Let's break it down. So let's talk about all the good first with the Z Fold 8 specifically, then we'll kind of talk about the iPhone Ultra and what it means in the foldable world with that ecosystem, but the Z Fold 8 has been amazing from a design standpoint and a hardware standpoint. It's unbelievably thin at just 4.5 millimeters when it's unfolded, so when you do use it in that tablet mode, it feels so light in the hand and it's not too heavy or tedious to use for long periods of time because it's also only 201 grams, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, for context, my iPhone 17 Pro weighs 206 grams, so it's more than what the Z Fold 8 is in total, and I have a front display and a tablet mode display, whereas the iPhone 17 Pro doesn't have any of that, and I'm not even including the 17 Pro Max, which is even heavier. It's also plenty fast and powerful with the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite 5, I think it is, made for Samsung. It's a long name, but again, it translates to great performance. It's got a 4800 milliamp hour battery, so it does last me all day pretty easily. Again, it's in its infancy. I've only had it for a little bit, so normally battery does deteriorate over time, and they are using some sort of silicon carbon, so we don't know how that acts over a long period of time, so let's see if battery life does persist, but overall, I am very impressed. And the form factor is awesome. Again, this is more of a squat down display. It's not like the Z Fold 7 or the Z Fold 8 Ultra, which is more of a longer form factor to kind of mimic what a regular slab phone would be like when it is closed. And when you open it, it kind of messes with the aspect ratio, making it a near square. So that's why this new Passport and kind of sandwich down foldable, I think is actually much more beneficial for foldable phone use cases, especially for content consumption and viewing on the inner display. But the outer display is an AMOLED display. It's super bright. It's 5.5 inches. I can still reach across the entire display for the most part. I think that top left corner with my thumb is kind of hard to reach. But again, it's very rare that I'm in those situations where I do need to grab it that way. And even though this is a squared off design, it's not uncomfortable to hold. A lot of people in the beginning said that, oh, it's too squared off, it's going to dig into your hand or to your palm. I haven't found any discomfort when using it in the regular kind of phone folded mode. And it's just a pleasure to use in the hand. I keep getting drawn to it because it's something different, it's something new. The honeymoon period is still there, even though I said that it ended in the very beginning. But I'm drawn to using it because it's just a different style form factor. Now, some of the content does kind of get the black bars on the side, or it isn't super fully optimized, but others are, and I'm sure more and more will optimize for it to be able to take advantage of it completely. Again, I'm not a big vertical scroller. I don't watch short form content, so for me, that's not a big issue. But I know Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikToks, you are having some wasted space on the outer display. And then when you open it up, this thing is just as good and just as gorgeous. 7.6-inch display across, also AMOLED, 120 Hz. It's very reminiscent of the iPad mini size, but with a much, much better display because we've been yearning for an iPad mini to have 120 Hz or ProMotion for a long time. It's still not there, but you essentially get a little bit smaller, but essentially get an iPad mini size to view all your content. And then the aspect ratio. This is where the thing wins from a form factor standpoint and where the iPhone Ultra, because again, supposedly the iPhone Ultra will be this type of form factor, this Passport style. So content is viewed amazingly. You're not getting wasted screen size because that was the issue with the Z Fold 7 and now the Z Fold 8 Ultra. When you open it up and view content, the amount of content that you can see because you are watching in 16:9 or even 2:1 is relatively the same size as a regular slab phone. A lot of wasted space on that aspect ratio versus this one, it's much, much better and you take up most of the screen, so you are getting a true 7.6-inch experience. Herein lies the dilemma, and this is not a Samsung thing, this is more so about the form factor and the price point. So Samsung's Z Fold 8 starts at $1899 and I think goes up to like $2,300 depending on which one you decide to go with. And Apple's rumored iPhone Ultra is supposed to start well over $2,000, right? That is an expensive piece of hardware for a phone. Yes, it's a two-in-one. Yes, it's basically an iPhone and an iPad or a Samsung and a Samsung tablet. But again, it's still very expensive because you can go out and buy an iPhone 17 for $800 and an iPad mini for like $400 and you have the kind of the same experience. This is more convenient for sure, but you're kind of getting a worse iPhone experience and a worse tablet experience versus getting each individual one, if that makes any sense. So you are paying a premium for that convenience to have this as a two-in-one. And then my issue, or I guess my realization when using this folding phone or this Fold 8 was the inner display. Like I mentioned, it's amazing for content consumption, for YouTube videos, for Netflix, for Disney Plus, for being able to kind of use that whole inner display. it's awesome. And for long plane rides and things like that, to be able to just pull this out of your pocket, unfold it, and not have to bring another separate piece of hardware with you, that's awesome. But like I said, that's what you're paying the premium for. But that's kind of where it stopped when it came to my use cases. When I was trying to do the multitasking and the productivity thing, it's fluid, it works well, having apps side by side. Samsung's UI is pretty good. Like, I didn't yearn for anything more. You can have a quad box display as well, so you can have multiple apps open, not just two. But those situations where I was using the split screen and using the apps side by side for productivity purposes were very far and in between. I felt like I was making myself use the inner display more than I would normally, just because of the price point and because I have the phone. I have it, it's $2,000, I better use the inner display, right? I gotta force myself to use it, and that's kind of what kept happening. I would open some apps side by side, right? The ChatGPTs and the Notes app, opening up a 9to5mac.com window with maybe the Notes app open, maybe having Twitter open with some other social media open. Like, it can work perfectly fine. It works well, it looks good, and it works as intended for sure. But those use cases for me personally were very far and in between. And for $2,000, it's hard to justify that situation, right? I'd rather just get an iPhone 17 Pro for $1,100 and then get an iPad mini or an iPad 10th Gen for $300 to $400 to $500, and I'm saving much more money, and I can just pull out the iPad whenever I need it for those larger screen use cases. I found myself really just using the front display more than anything, and then occasionally opening it, but again, mostly to view content if I'm using it for longer than a minute or two. The side-by-side app thing, maybe I just gotta get used to it a little bit more, but again, I felt like I was forcing myself to use it because of how expensive a phone like this is. So when it comes to how phones were being marketed to people, they were being marketed as a great productivity machine that can also view content, where the reality for me was, yes, the device can do that, but that's not how I was using that device. I was using it like I use a normal slab phone on the front, and then when I did open it up, it was to view some content. I would kind of mess around with it sometimes to change the aspect ratio, maybe to read a book, I guess, every now and then. But again, for the most part, I was just basically enlarging my outer display with the inner display, and I really wasn't using all the productivity function of it. So that's why I'm worried about the iPhone Ultra or the folding iPhone, because it's going to be $2,000 plus, and it's going to maybe feel like people are going to be feeling forced to use the inner display, where you might be better off just getting a regular iPhone and an iPad. Now again, the Apple ecosystem could change that a little bit in terms of being integrated with your iMessage and your Apple Notes and your reminders and Safari and Apple Intelligence and Siri. But I'll give kudos to Samsung. It's playing much better with iOS and Apple than it used to, with Quick Share, AirDrop, being able to transfer everything over when you do set it up. So it's not like I'm missing a ton aside from iMessage here, and of course all just my other Apple ecosystem things, but maybe the Apple ecosystem aspect of the iPhone Ultra will change how I feel about the inner display and the price point and the price to performance ratio that you get out of it, but I doubt it's really going to move the needle that much for me. And again, maybe that's why Apple held off from making a folding phone for so long, because they knew it was going to be expensive, and they knew that once you kind of get over the honeymoon period, the folding phone is for a very niche type of user. Again, I'm not saying that for somebody the productivity use cases isn't enough to warrant the price point, because it definitely is. There's definitely a market for it, and people can use their folding phone in a way that is extra productive to make it worthwhile for that price point. But just for me, it didn't work that way, and I think that's how the average consumer is going to view this. They're going to see like, wow, cool new phone. I can view content whenever I open it up, and it's going to be awesome. And I can justify it by being able to work off of it much better, having multiple apps open. But they end up realizing like, hey, I'm actually not using it to maximize productivity. I'm just using it to watch some YouTube videos. So again, I'm super curious to see how Apple markets this to us. My concern isn't the hardware. The hardware is going to be fantastic. Apple's going to give us some amazing marketing spiel, rounded off edges, the hinge mechanism, the display, sapphire crystal, ceramic shield 1,000,000. Like, they're going to give so many marketing terms to us to really kind of sell the hardware, because it's going to be a beautiful piece of hardware. But the software, I'm curious to see how they market the software and the use cases to make this phone worthwhile moving forward. So again, my key takeaway here is that for the Z Fold 8, it's amazing. It's an amazing piece of hardware. I think it's the best foldable that I've ever used. The hardware is incredible, and the form factor is amazing. And I like this version of a folding phone better than the old folding phone that we've had in the past, with the Fold 7 especially, and the kind of longer aspect ratio. But the key question that I now keep asking myself is, are folding phones productivity devices that just happen to be great for content consumption? Or folding phones content-consuming devices that are good just for the one-off shop productivity situations that might be better on the folding phone than on a regular slab phone? So that's kind of the dilemma that I'm in, and I just don't know if $2,000 plus is going to be worth it for 98% of people looking to get an iPhone Ultra. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Are you excited to see how Apple sells it? Are you going to pick one of these iPhone Ultras up? Have you played with the Z Fold 8? Have you checked it out at all? Curious to know your thoughts, but if you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin. I just wanted to share my thoughts on what I think Apple's dilemma is going to be moving forward on how to sell this thing. But if anybody can sell it to us, it's going to be Apple. So if you guys do want to watch more videos like this one, like my full review on the Z Fold 8 and what I thought about it initially, click on one of these right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.